Okay, hello, greetings and welcome. Now this video is going to be on the psychology and the profile of a practicer. Who succeeds in this? Who are the people that they get into a spiritual path and they're destined to succeed? And who are the people who get into a spiritual path and they're destined to fail? Who are these people? Psychology of the way their mind and their ego is constructed as the decider of success and failure. Now there are key markers within people, and I've been training this for many decades. I've been teaching for many decades, so I've seen thousands of people go through this process. And you can look at someone and go, success. You look at someone and go, well, I'm going to give my best for them to have success. But you kind of know that some people are destined and other people are not. And as a teacher, you want to invest your energy and your time in people that you know are going to be successful. So how do we know where to put our energy as a teacher? The first characteristic is rebelliousness. Practitioners who succeed are rebellious just by nature. They rebel against the nature of society. They rebel against authority. They rebel against anyone trying to control their thinking, their feeling, or their behavior in any way. Because the group consciousness of the planet is not going in the same direction as where you go when you train Hermetics. The group consciousness tells you this is how you should live, this is how you should feel, this is how you should act, this is how you should think. And as a group, they're going in a certain direction. And you're not going in that direction. Now, if you're a very highly compliant person, you're very easygoing, yeah, I don't mind, I'll go with the flow is going to take you where it goes. And that is not what succeeds. People who succeed in Hermetics, they're out of the box. They're really not inside this society approval acceptance. The next thing is they tend to get approval from themselves more easily. So this quality of self-approval is really important because we're social creatures. We've been unconsciously conditioned to get social approval from our peers, from our environment, from our family before we're allowed to do something. We need someone to say, yeah, that's okay. That means there's a big box there and we can't jump out of the box without approval. And the only people that are approved for us to jump out of the box is someone who's standing outside of it, not someone who's standing inside the box. So if you're a personality type and look in yourself and go, yeah, that's okay, I'm happy with that, then you can generate self-approval. And this unconscious ability is actually quite rare. We need approval from our mentors and our peers and people around us in order to move forward. This is why we journal so much. You're giving approval to yourself by journaling and expanding your mind outside the box. As a solo practitioner, and most Hermeticists don't work in groups, they're individuals. Students who come and train with me spend a week or 2 or 3, maybe 4 weeks. They learn the stuff they need to do and off they go. And most of the students I'm teaching are learning online. They're going through these Vimeo videos and YouTube videos and developing the content, and investigating, practicing, journaling, developing their methods. They're solo practices. They have to be very, very comfortable and content with approving of their own development, and this is why we journal. Okay, the next aspect of a practicer is a type of determination. You'll see a fire in the eyes. I really want to get this. I'm going to push through. That they have an unconscious component to them that is going to break barriers and move beyond. People who don't have that will tend to hit an obstacle, a group conscious barrier, like you're not allowed to do that, and go, oh, I'm too scared to move beyond that, rather than the courage to break through. The courage to say, I've got this weakness, I've got this emotional problem. The courage to say, oh, I'm addicted to something. It takes courage to do these things. So this personality trait of this will to push forward and the courage to look at themselves and do that, This needs to be as a part of the personality. So from this will and conviction, I already went into the next one, which is courage. The courage to say I am wrong. That takes a lot. Not many people have the courage to just look at themselves and go, oh, geez, I made a mistake. My intellect wasn't working the way it should have. I was doing it wrong for years. Now I've got to change. This courage to throw out the old and bring in the new is it's big. That's really, really big. And the reason why is you're undergoing huge amounts of mental, emotional, physical change at a very high rate. You can't hold on to past patterns. That takes courage. And why does it take courage? Because past patterns is what makes you unconsciously feel stable. You have grounding in your feet. You know how you think, feel, and act. You know your environment. That's why people will make a house and stay there forever, because it gives them security. It makes them feel, I know this environment and everything around it, I feel secure. High-level practices, they release themselves of that, so they're continuously being exposed to new stimuli so that they can evolve and grow. Very, very, very different to normal people. So it takes a lot of courage to get exposed to the unknown, to be releasing on something continuously, and be open to change and evolution and growth. Your level of this type of courage is a reflection of your resistance or absence of resistance to change. Okay, the next aspect is, this one's a hard one to pin down, but if I used a sort of like a general term, we call omnipresence. It's your connection and oneness with the environment. So omnipresence is a very high word, but if we bring it down, that people who are high-level practice has to care just as much as the people around them as themselves. So there's this tendency to prioritize. I'm with Jane over there. I want to take care of Jane and do my best for her. Charlie, I'm going to help Charlie. That there's this empathic sympathy, empathy to help other people. Now, if a person doesn't give a shit about anyone, it's just totally about them, there's an unconscious tendency to keep the doors closed and isolate. Where people who care about others have a tendency to be able to step out of their own comfort very easily and surrender a part of their comfort to take care of other people. This particular quality to take care of the environment and connect, it's really, really important for their development. If a person is too much about themselves, it's difficult to step out of the box because their own selfishness contains them. So this type of compassion for others, and this compassion for others it's connected to this omnipresence of oneness with the environment. If you do the chi treacle exercises and let's say, okay, today I'm going to do this tree and I'm going to do one a day and I'll cover the 100 trees in the forest around where you practice, and you walk into the forest and the forest, every tree recognizes you and sings your song, your mental body becomes huge and you go, oh, that's the basic platform of omnipresence. You become the protector of the forest. You care for the forest. So this compassion and this oneness, they're an overlapping two sides of the same coin, and they interact with each other. So these qualities need to be ingrained in the unconscious personality of the practicer. And they're rhythmically swinging between the volatility of their own mind to rebel against society, while also being highly compassionate and loving for people around them, for society. It's kind of an irony that they want to be a part of it, but they don't want to let it control them. Now, these practitioners are very, very happy discarding media. It's kind of as if I've had enough of that, I just want to switch the phone off, I want to switch the computer off, I just want to throw it away and be in nature. There's this unconscious yearning just to let go of this type of stimuli. And all practice feel it, like too much media is not good. And inside of that filter, there's a natural part of their psyche which goes, well, if I'm going to be exposed to media, I want to learn something. So there's a natural gravitation to stimulating insight and learning, and there's a rejection of drama. They don't want to get caught in drama. They don't want to waste their time watching rubbish that is not going to stimulate their spiritual growth, but they don't want to get stuck in stuff that contains their astral personality. But they go, oh, well, I can learn something on YouTube about this topic or that topic, or how to build this or how to fix that. And for that media need, the mind will get pulled that way, because the spirit knows that you need to have knowledge to attain wisdom. And without that framework for the network of your brain to function, it can't navigate into wisdom if you don't have knowledge. And when higher light comes through those pathways down into form, you can't translate it if you don't have an education. So there's a part of the person who seeks to be educated. It doesn't seek to be entertained. Okay. The next aspect of these people who have a high level of success is they crave to be in stillness. There's this craving to, I just want to sit here quietly, not be disturbed. Leave me alone. I just want to be quiet. I'm just going to sit here and indulge in the stillness. That there's this need for that space to step into your cave and go, I can just enjoy the moment. Practices unconsciously yearn stillness. They just want it so badly. So that's a part of a high-level practitioner. You'll see it within them that they just, oh, there's too many people around. I just need to get into the quiet place. Now, the next aspect of successful practices, the psychology of them and how they function, is that there's a tendency for them to be highly selective about who they let into their space. They can't socialize with people who have a low frequency. They have aversion to it. They recognize that hanging around with this person, I'm going to lose time, I'm going to lose energy, I'm going to lower myself. So people who have highly addictive lifestyles, they just go, no, I'm not going to stay away from that. Successful practices have a tendency to select people around them who fill their weaknesses. So if you have a high propensity to go running and do sport, and there's an aspect of that sport that you're weak at, you'll unconsciously find people who are really strong at your weakness and befriend them, because you unconsciously know that their influence will neutralize your weakness and elevate you. And this unconscious ability to do that is a tendency within practices. They know if they want to rise, they need to be around the tuning fork that is going to remove their weaknesses and make them rise. It's a kind of vibrational common sense. If you want to learn about yoga, you go and find a yogi who's got the frequencies of yoga, and you hang around them and you get good at yoga. You don't get good at yoga of going to the local yoga school down at the YMCA and hope for the best. You end up learning from someone who is in all probability only partially trained, and you get partial learning. The serious practices unconsciously seek out the best that is available and go to them. And that's what they do, because their yearning is like, I want that, and they chase it. And they don't do it half-heartedly. And which brings us to the next quality, is overcommitment. And I call it overcommitment because that's how society would label it, that it's all or nothing. And this quality within the practicer, where they dive into stuff and that's their world and their whole mind becomes that, it's a platform of success. You look at a pianist who reaches the highest. they dive into the piano, and their life is piano. There's nothing else. That's why they're the best at playing the piano. They don't do it, oh, I'll just do piano on Sundays and be the world's best. No, they play it all day, every day, and that's what they do. And that's why they reach the pinnacle. So this personality trait of the person being over or completely involved in jumping into initiation, they become initiation, they live the magician, and they are the magician. Without that genetic trait or that part of you, you're just not going to win. You can't, because your mind is, oh, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go there, I'm going to grab that, grab that, grab that. No, you grab one thing, that initiation text, and you master it, and you live it, and you breathe it, and that's your experience until you've reached a point where, okay, where is this leading me to the next step? That personality trait is super important. So if you're a person who was into skateboarding when you were a kid, and that was your life and nothing else, then it's quite possible that you can take in the initiation process and that's your life and nothing else, and you master it. Okay, so the next quality is a yearning for green. Practitioners want to be in nature. They want to be in the park, they want to go to the mountains, they want to go into the forest. There's just this unconscious pull to a place that's naturally rhythmic, that synchronizes their mind, it expands their energy system, it heals their body. They want to sit in front of a waterfall and just stare at it. They want to just sit under a big tree and fall asleep and go, oh, it feels so good to be here. There's this unconscious yearning for nature. And people who have that yearning strong enough so that they find themselves in nature all the time have a much higher tendency to do really well with this type of spiritual work. Now the next quality is they're highly selective in what they let their mind touch. So a lot of practices will be, where am I going on holidays this year? Oh, I'm going to go temple hopping in Japan. Or I'm going to go to Thailand and go from one temple to the next and rent a motorbike and just practice 15 minutes in each temple, do some prayers and go to the next one. That there's this yearning to touch frequencies greater than themselves so they expand. So let me say that again. There's a yearning for them to touch frequencies and energies greater than themselves so they expand. Normal people don't want to do that. Normal people want to compound and grab and gather what they have and hold on to it. They want to make more money. They want to make stronger social networks. They want to have a nicer house, a nicer car. There's grasping at the root of their personality. The practicer is going to the edge of the personality. I want to burst the bubble and move on. I want to touch something greater than me all the time. It's just an unconscious need to expand the consciousness. That type of personality trait is one of the keys to success. If a person doesn't have that, they can cultivate power, they can bounce a person 10 meters, but they're not going to ascend because they're grasping at power, they're containing, they're not releasing and opening, ascending. Okay, so the next quality that we want to look at in the personality is a synchronicity of those things, a balance of, okay, yep, I'm 100% focused on initiation, I'm in nature, I'm interacting with these places of power, I'm minimizing drama media and maximizing learning media when the craving's there. They're taking in all these qualities and harmonizing it into a package that I can live this in a balanced, harmonious way. So I smile every day, my mind feels good, my body feels good, this is what I want to be doing. And there's a joy to live that spiritual path. That's synchronicity. Now, these are the key aspects of people who succeed. But there's anomalies as well. There are people who are squeezed into one of those categories, and they'll have a very high level of success, even though those other areas aren't catered to. But generally, if it's a balance of all those things, the person has a very high probability of success. Okay, so I hope this helps with the psychology aspect and identifying qualities within yourself. And is this path right for you? Can you actually succeed at it? If you're ticking off a lot of those boxes, yeah. And if you're looking at it from a am I ready yet perspective. Now, am I ready yet is one of those things where people go through their life, they have their house and children, their kids grow up and they go to university, and their whole life they felt something was missing, that they're living their lives for the benefit of others. And all of a sudden they go, wow, you know, I've got enough money to live a spiritual life. I've always wanted this. I've always wanted these qualities, but you felt too contained. And when the synchronicities are there, how many of those qualities are underneath your personality, but they haven't been allowed to express themselves? So it may be a timing issue. It's sort of like in the past, your environment, situation, your commitments to your family and to your business and so forth kept you in a certain place. Once those commitments backed off, it's sort of like, now I can go and do the things I wanted to do. And parts of your personality can express themselves to be successful in the Hermetic process. Now, Hermetics is suitable for about 1 in 1,000 people. It's not suitable for everybody. And this is really important to understand, that some people get into Hermetics and they're doomed to fail because they just don't have the profile of success for a Hermeticist. Now, most people who get into Hermetics get into it because they already match the profile and it ticks the boxes of their yearnings. Sort of like, that's me. That's what I've got to do. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to follow that direction and get there. And if that's your case, if that's who you are, perfect. But what I suggest to everybody is look within yourself. I mean, the fact that you're watching this video is saying you've got a craving to follow the Hermetic path. Know yourself. Can you succeed at it? Do you have the profile of someone who succeeds? Because if you don't, then it's kind of like, well, okay, I'm going to optimize the tools and initiation texts that are best for my goals. And if your goals are, oh, I want to make a lot of money, you overlay that whole initiation process on the wealth making process and use it as a tool to make wealth. That's fine, nothing wrong with that. But let it be what it is and don't try and make it something that it's not. So I hope this helps with getting your mind into that place of success in Hermetics, what takes people to a place of power within the Hermetic process, that gets their rhythms moving fast. And if you have any questions about this, let me know. And let me know which Vimeo channel you're on, if you're on the channel or if it's YouTube. I'll try to keep everything relatively simple in YouTube and metaphysically deep within the 3 Vimeo channels. And make sure you let me know which one, because most people ask me questions and I don't know what the channel they're on to answer them. So when I make the video, I don't know where to post it. And if it's too deep, I don't want to leave it on YouTube because pearls before swine. You don't want to make something that is outside of a person's ability to grasp or understand, because when they get lost, they will very often have a negative response to something. So the very deep learning, it's better to keep it on a private area on Vimeo, so that people who have done the fundamental training can appreciate it, value it, and honor it. Or people who are just got home from work, I'll have a look on YouTube and look at this stuff, they can't honor it and appreciate it. So there's a certain level in which you can put stuff on YouTube and you can go way past it on the Vimeo channel. Okay, thank you for your time, and see you on the next video.